Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. Hey, I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering the Real Housewives of Miami. This is season 7, episode 3. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video, and you can also subscribe if you are new. Please leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, y'all, this might be a short video. Not that the episode was good. I was still entertained. There's some things I'm disgusted at. And there's some things that, on a personal level, I don't want to discuss with these storylines. It's close to home, and I think I'm going to give my personal emotions out of this. Although it's cool to give my real commentary about it, but I just know that I'm not in a healed place, and I'm going to give you me instead of, I think, not being responsible at what I actually give over to people that are on my channel. And I want to respect you guys even more than what I want to feel on the inside. I can go see a lady on a chair, on the sofa or whatever, to deal with me. So that's why I don't really want to get into deep. I feel for these ladies and what they're saying and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Alexia and Frankie, good to see Frankie, go and visit Miriam. She's looking at this place called Sea Spice. She wants to host a surprise wedding shower or celebration for Marisol and Steve. Marisol and Steve are getting married, and we find out that Alexia has not been to any of her weddings, but also none of her family or close friends. They mostly have done things on their own when she has gotten married to whomever she's with and all that good stuff. And when I just wanted to roll my eyes, it was at Alexia talking about, this is the same place that I met Todd. I don't feel like going down this route with you, Alexia. One, I wasn't really invested in Todd like that with you. We barely got to know him. Now, we saw how he manned up. Well, I don't want to say manned up, but how he did not take the disrespect of Peter, even at what he wanted to show to you as disrespect. And I thought that was cool. We don't know him that much, and to see him just throw you away the way that he did, and then come back, sex you up, and you're like okay with it, like you're that desperate. And that's why people call you the Teresa Giudice of Miami. Let's see. Oh, Alexia was saying on all the girls that know about the surprise, and Lisa's the only one that didn't. Lisa's one of those ones that never answers her phone. However, I think for filming, Lisa did at least fill in some time for a FaceTime. We found out that Lisa's in Canada and her father has passed away. So she's dealing with that, so she won't even be at Marisol's celebration and all that good stuff. We'll get into Lisa in a few minutes. We go to Marisol and Steve. Marisol looks so beautiful. She was talking about her parents. I got teary-eyed at the wedding and all that good stuff. And, you know, they came to the decision, okay, they're older, her and Steve. And they want each other to have access, just in case one or the other, passes away. So they decided, okay, let's get married, so at least legally this stuff is not going to be so troublesome and all that good stuff. They go to the courthouse. We didn't go into the courthouse, but we know that they got married. She rode on the motorcycle and all that stuff. She was talking about Mama Elsa would be upset if she had rode on that if she was here to see her ride on a motorcycle, especially in her wedding attire and all that good stuff. So congratulations to Marisol and Steve. Adriana and Julia. Every time I see Julia, all I want to do is reach through my TV. Now, I'm just letting you know, I've never seen it for Julia. Never seen it for Julia. And I hardly see it for Adriana. She's there for the dramatics, but I think the tides are turning, at least with Adriana in this moment. I'm fighting for folks that I don't really see it for. I was about to say something. So they sit down and catch up. They basically haven't been calling each other. Julia's asking, you haven't been calling me. And Adriana said, well, the wrong vows on both ends, too. Adriana's been feeling away because she's trying to figure out why she found out with the rest of the crew about her adopting these boys. And she would have thought that she would have heard about it before then. She was there with Julia through the process of getting the adoption, and then now kind of treated a little bit crazy. So she was distant and all that good stuff. She also let Alexia see the babies before even her. If we're best friends, she even said what this was season 4. She was made this declaration, somewhat similar to Cynthia and Nene, except there wasn't some type of friend contract. It was quite cringe at that time, in my opinion. On this is my best friend. Da, 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 da. I remember that scene, and we get a flashback of that. But anyways, they kind of let everything go, and Adriana wants to throw a baby shower for the boys, and I guess Julia's excited about that. I guess they're okay, and I can't wait to see how this fallout happens. I want to see what happens. Kiki and Gertie, they go to a place to stretch and all this good stuff. I guess to help out Gertie's body while she's going through the different surgeries that she's going through. And of course, it's just a time for Kiki to talk about sexual stuff. That's what she's just known on this show to be. Kiki gets into it about stuff that's been going on. She was invited to a dinner that she knew that Gertie and Adriana was not invited to. And she lets Gertie know how the group feels about her, which she is too extra. And I guess also talk over people, because that was also how Kiki felt. Gertie got instantly defensive and all that good stuff. I'm going to say this here because it's going to look like I'm being a hypocrite later on the episode. I have not seen it for Gertie. I agree that Gertie is extra. I think Gertie does feel like a fish out of water trying to fit into this group, and the group does not make it easy for her. I think last season she went overboard and did too much, even with her cancer, and I feel like she was relying on her cancer to get out of some of the things that she was doing last season. So, and I've been ready for her to go. However, she's still there. Casting said keep her there. She's here. So again, it's going to sound hypocritical. I'm being honest at how I feel about Gertie. I don't know how Gertie can switch it up at this point, because I believe that these girls have made up their mind, and it's evident towards the end of this episode. But Kiki was like, I'm trying to get through to her, but she's doing some of the things to me that these girls are complaining about. And Kiki, let me tell you this much. All I can say is don't get too comfortable thinking that they like you that much. You're a good time to hang out with, to party and stuff, but are you really in there? Ask that question. Lisa and Jody, I think they're in Canada still. They film a scene. Lisa is trying to come to grips that her father's passed and regretting the time that she did not have with her father. There's a thing that I don't agree to. We always say this: our parents did the best that they could. Did they? Now, I think that a lot of parents just do what they're taught. But for some reason, children are always taught to be a better version, to be this and do this and be greater than them. But for some reason, parents can slack and do whatever. And then you're supposed to have the utmost respect, which I'm coming to this next scene with Kiki when what she was talking about her parents, or her dad at least. I don't think parents do the best that they can. I think some parents do the minimum, and that's that. And then they get this respect because of their title, and not because they actually do their job. Because, hey, none of us children, I'm not a parent as of yet, so I can talk like this. None of us children ask to be here. And then you don't know how to raise a standard within yourself to be a better parent than what you are. You don't mind being toxic. You don't mind learning. You don't mind, you don't think it's imperative to apologize. You don't think it's imperative to be vulnerable and all that good stuff. Even where you come short at, you don't know how to get things together. But a child always has to get themselves together and be respectful and honorable, no matter how you treat them. So the dad was an alcoholic and just did not treat them well, And I understand the battle after you lose them. and what you desired to have from a parent. For whatever reason, you didn't get it. So I get that. Kiki and her mother Gerline and her daughter Summer. I think it's very cool that now we're seeing Kiki. I know y'all gonna say give her a mojito. I mean, she ain't done nothing yet. So slow down. Anyways, they go someplace in Miami, and I gotta find out where that is because that place looks so cool. It reminded me a little bit of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory without all the chocolate or whatever, but that place looked very good. Very good. She talks about reconciling with her dad. Her dad is coming to the United States, and they're going to have a conversation. She was living with her dad and stepmom back when she was a teen. She was modeling, and she did some photos that weren't inappropriate. However, for a 15-year-old to dress the way that she was, it was inappropriate. The mama didn't like them and told the husband to kick her out, and he did it. I think at this point, since Kiki got a little success, now they're coming around her and all that good stuff. In my mind, maybe they have something else that they'll talk about whenever he comes, but I feel like now that she's got a little money. Oh, and Kiki's mother take care of her, or Kiki take care of her mom while Kiki take care of her children. But he kicked her out at the age of 15. What in the world? Over this one. Let me stop. I'll probably go more into it later on, but she's just talking about, you got to still have respect for your parents, no matter. And that's why I don't really want to talk about this. But yeah, we're going to see what happens with this relationship, and I hope that Kiki gets the best out of this situation, and don't beg for people that don't want you. That's the best thing that I can say right now. Okay, so this is the celebration. Larsa comes first. She talks with Alexia to see how Todd is doing, or her and Todd doing, and all this stuff. Larsa's like, this guy is just, because she's saying, it's all in his hands at what he wants to do. And Larsa's like, he's got all this control over your heart, and you shouldn't let that happen, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Larsa was right. Everybody starts coming, fellowship in. There was this awkward thing because Gertie knows that Julia's talking about her behind her back to this whole group. And it's just weird. So, anyways, they sit down. Larsa discusses her Milan trip. She said her and Lisa were getting on a better foot. And then next thing you know, the last day, Jody was having all this opposition between Lisa and Larsa, becoming better friends. I think Lisa said that she was unfollowing Marcus and just said, you're right, I'm going to stand with you, da, 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 da. Jody wasn't having it. And then all of a sudden, she showed this picture of his eyes bugging out. I guess that's a sign of him being a drug addict. I don't know. Or high on something. I don't know. But it wasn't really spoken of as to what they're accusing him of. But that's all I'm assuming. Alexia in her confessional thinks that it's not a good thing that Larsa's talking about that. Especially since Lisa's trying to bury her father right now. No. We can choose a different time. So Julia now is jumping up, being what, as Gertie said, like I am. Congratulations, Marisol and Steve! Woo-hoo! But Julia, weren't you just last season trying to look up information about this Steve dude? And now you being fake and phone. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So Gertie's feeling away, and they said, well, maybe the group was like, well, maybe I need to have a talk. Julia comes and sits her weird tail down, and they were like, I think you two need to have a talk and all that good stuff. And Gertie is saying, I think so too. Should we have a talk amongst the group or individually? And then all of a sudden Julia snaps and says, no, you're not going to be producing. I said, what? What do you mean? Julia's saying one thing, Gertie's saying another, and I believe Gertie. She's saying that Gertie took this opportunity to have everything about herself. She's very self-centered, and never once asked about her or her wife over there. I forgot her name at this moment, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Gertie sat down and she explained what it was. She just got off her own cruise boat with her husband, and she calls Julia and says, "Hey," or Julia calls Gertie and says, "Hey, oh, the wife is having a health scare right now, and I'm supposed to be going on this cruise," and she asks for Gertie to go. Julia says that no, she offered to go. She didn't say that right then and there, but she said in a confessional that Gertie offered to go. Why in the world would you be telling her if you didn't want her to go, Julia? You are such a liar. So Julia's been saying a story of where Gertie had canceled out on a dinner and all that stuff, and then came and blamed her for not being able to sit with her. Well, no, it was, what Gertie is saying is, we were supposed to go here, here, there. Then Julia told me don't go to this restaurant and all that, and then I had to sit by myself. It was all about publicity and wanting to meet Captain Sandy. I don't know what it meant, but in her confessional, Gertie was like, I wanted to see Captain Sandy, you know, the person that we saw the previous night before. Why? And then she had a picture of her, Captain Sandy. Captain Sandy is from one of the Below Deck franchises, which does very great in ratings over the Housewives at this time, if y'all didn't know, on Bravo. And all of a sudden, Gertie's still trying to talk, and then Julia's interrupting her. And then Gertie said, "Be quiet." And then next thing you know, "Don't tell me to be quiet," and throws a drink on her. Now, mind you, beforehand, she's getting up and being very active, being provoking, getting in Gertie's face. Beforehand, wouldn't allow Gertie to speak and all this stuff. It was just total performance for the camera and also the people of hierarchy within the group. Alexia and Marisol and possibly Larsa. You did things to humiliate Gertie. And what you thought was going to be good for the show. Now, I'm entertained by this episode. Now, look, these ladies can be entertaining, hardly doing anything. I mean, they're just good at what they do on this show. Yeah, you knew what you were doing. You said, "I cannot believe Gertie took me there," or "I let Gertie take me there." You didn't need to be taken anywhere, lady. You did it because of everything that's been going on and conspiring behind the scenes. And it's been a takedown season to ice her out, along with Adriana. And you knew what you were doing. You knew when you were throwing that water and all that stuff. You didn't even apologize. But you tell Larsa later on, you know, "I want to take this mic off and go cry." Why? Because you know you embarrassed yourself being a stupid clown for these ladies that really are just glad that you're doing their work for them and don't really respect you. You old clown, you old curdled cottage cheese clown. I don't see it for you. And right now I am speaking up for Gertie. Call me a hypocrite all you want to, whatever. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You didn't want to have a conversation. Kiki was trying to get Gertie up out of there, and Gertie said no. I understand why Gertie didn't want to leave. However, I also think she should have left. Alexia did nothing, said nothing, and let that crazy wench do what she did. Called her, "Oh, she's scary and psychotic." Y'all know y'all be talking like that behind her back. You wanted to bring that up because you knew these girls would understand. And all the while, it was you. Who was the fool that let you adopt any children? And that transphobic, and I'm going to say it, racist. Because you're a racist too. And it's all in what you are doing and displaying that allows me to say racist. I know as soon as I put it on the timeline, here comes the renegades that want to. You're racist. And you're a clown. And it's time for you to go. You done tried and tried and tried, and you, whatever. But that's the end of what I need to say. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. I could have said more, but I just don't want to, as I said before. Like this video, let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe if you are new. And until the next episode or the next video, peace.